Ladies and gentlemen, when I was 15 years old, I worked at a Scarehouse. I was a little bit more elder-oriented. Don't worry, I'll explain everything in due time. See, roughly 6 years ago, I worked at a place called Scarehouse of the South, which, in case y'all have no idea, or maybe you're not from Georgia, this is probably the most well-known and probably famous Scarehouse in all of Georgia. Georgia, sweet Georgia, where there's places that you can't take your kids or else they'll see something they shouldn't. Now, in case you're wondering where exactly were my parents at this time, as I was a minor working at a scare house, very simple. They were there as well. See, my parents were part of an organization that raised money for kids. Well, they needed a way to raise money, and due to this, there was a business opportunity. The Scarehouse of the South needed workers. In fact, they needed enough people to run an entire floor of a house, including this house, which is actually the very first place you go whenever you first go into Scarehouse of the South. That is right. Scarehouse of the South is not one place. Instead, it is four places when I was working that are basically broken into different sections. You have the main house, which was where this organization basically took over the very top floor. You have the woods, then you have the granny's house, and then you have Inferno. Inferno was ran by Scribbles, probably the most well-known and honestly most down-to-earth scarer there ever will be. He's actually basically a legend in Scarehouse communities, and honestly, he made his own mask, and this is him, the little clown dude. Honestly, great guy. If you ever get to meet him outside of Scarehouse of the South, very much say talk to him. Very amazing person. Now, in case you're wondering what Granny's house is, this is where most of the elder-oriented stuff is, including basically the theme being a satanic brothel type deal, with a lot of the workers in there not wearing a lot of clothes. So as you can tell, I'm already saying the scene of, hey, kids aren't really welcomed in the latter half. Now, what about the first half, where I was? I'm in the main house, and then there's the woods after. Well, the main house is a little bit more kid-friendly, although there is some artwork about the second level that makes a 16-year-old kind of laugh. Or 15-year-old if you were me, or 13 if you were my little sister. We couldn't help but just laugh at some of the drawings that were on the wall, including a clown with certain female parts. I'll put it that way. So, honestly, as you can tell, it's one of them, why was this happening? Well, very simple. Needed workers, and mom and dad just wanted to keep good track of me and my sister. So what exactly happens? Well, we get told about a scaffolding place where we can come out of a wall and start messing with people as they go underneath us. So, very first weekend, we do exactly that. In fact, here's the exact room where this arrow is pointing of where we were. Now, what exactly happened afterwards? Because believe it or not, Scarehouse of the South is every single weekend. That is right. It's not just one weekend, it is 4. Sometimes even more if they're feeling lucky. So, after that, we get told that, hey, there's an actual room where you can go and do your own thing. So, we get put in there. My sister gets put into a chute where she gets to crawl out after turning off lights and putting a strobe light behind her. As for I, am basically just a distraction. In fact, that's all me and her were, as our people on the other side were getting ready to actually scare people. Now, I do want to preference that there was a little bit more to it than what I can fully remember. However, a lot of what I remember is basically how much I hurt the next day. I'll explain a little bit better. I was in multiple different places. One of the main places was the stairs. That's right. I was on the second story, and there were stairs leading you up there. I was on those stairs. I was simply there just to laugh at you while you got scared and then run down, get behind you, and force your group up. Because believe it or not, the groups were going through without guides. So, somebody had to kind of force them up certain places, especially if people didn't like clowns. Newsflash, that's what we were. People don't like clowns for some reason. I don't know why, we're so harmless. Either way, there was one time where I am in boots, and unfortunately, me in boots, I don't really feel my feet all too well. Well, not only that, I'm wearing a mask that covers my eyes and has a button to which when I hit, there's lights clearly in my eyes. So in case you're wondering, it is as useful as taking paper and putting it in front of your face. I couldn't see a single thing. So what exactly happens? Well, I run down the stairs as usual, and I slip and proceed to make this staircase a slide as my butt hits every step on the way down. I didn't land at the very bottom and just look up at the people in front of me, to which they are confused and I'm even more confused, and I just get behind them and chase them upwards. So yes, as you can tell, this is even funnier. Not only that, but I had multiple people behind me watching as this happened. In fact, I'm pretty sure they found it hilarious. Now, in case you're wondering what else possibly happened at this place, we had someone rip off my mask just to kiss me. I have absolutely no idea who it was. It could have been a worker, it could have not been. I had my sister put in a corner, and then a drunk, disorderly woman who was honestly a blast to dance with proceed to twerk on my little sister, which we found hilarious. In fact, to this day, my sister absolutely dies laughing. Not only that, but I had a asthma attack and almost fell off scaffolding very first weekend there. I watched as somebody almost destroy a door out of the single fact that they were so afraid of clowns that I decided to get in front of a closing door. Because where we were, there's a fence door that they are not able to open unless somebody hits the switch. I was going across a wall to get to this person, to which they tried breaking it. Then I got on the other side of this door, and they no longer had interest in going through that door. Do not worry, he was dressed like the Kool-Aid Man, so it would have just been on brand for him. But he lives in my head rent-free, as amazing. But as you can tell, very first house, it's really nothing, not kid-friendly. It's a lot of normal stuff. Second place, the woods. When I worked there was unfortunately an incident where a woman with very long hair got caught into one of the machines, and we had to call an ambulance just as a precautionary deal. There was also an incident where somebody got really freaked out after one of the scenes that was in this. Should preference that I'm pretty sure they were using blanks in a shotgun, if I remember correctly. Again, 6 years, brain memory does not last that long. I just remember a lot of stuff that happened with myself, mostly. But yeah, as you can see, you'll have some darker themes in that portion, but first and second one, if you have like a 16, 17-year-old kid, all you had to do at the time was sign a waiver, making us not liable, and you probably could have went through that. As soon as you got to Granny's house, though, you were immediately told, hey, this is what's in here, alright? They did not sugarcoat. One of the funniest things, though, and the reason I'm making this video is we had our very first night somebody that we actually knew. My family actually knew him. He yelled out that if anybody touched him, he was going to fight them. My mom looked at me and my sister while we were on top of scaffolding and said, do not stick your head out. Because we are probably in line, if you were like 6'5", you probably would have been like eye to eye with us, be completely honest with you. So we were told, don't stick your head out. I'm the little troublemaker that did not care at all. Stick my head out, and I was looking out for the one that said it. Luckily, my dad immediately recognized who it was and decided to scare him to death. See, if it was somebody that my dad automatically knew, my dad was going to mess with them even more. Including, if they dropped into the floor, my dad was coming over the wall and petting them like they were a pet, basically. It was absolutely hilarious. And to him, it was even better. But yeah, whenever somebody immediately goes and says that they're going to attack, a worker, I really want people to realize not all workers are of age. They could possibly be minors. You will get yourself in trouble, you will ruin the fun for others, and if you believe that you are unable to handle a jump scare and your very first reaction is to automatically throw hands, please don't put yourself in a situation to where you're going to harm others or yourself. Especially in a case to where that said minor might have their parents there, and said parents might react in a way that is very common for adults. For anybody a little bit confused, I mean fist fight. Especially because if a fight was to break out at, let's say, Scarehouse or Sal's, things end up getting stopped. It's going to cause a lot of disruption. Timings get off. Not a very good time. So yes, if you immediately go into a fight mode, please do not put yourself in that position. You ruin the fun for not only yourself, but for everybody involved. Not mention that you possibly have some people that are just idiotic and just throw themselves at whatever, and probably somebody like me that's like, hey, I can't throw a punch, but I can sling my body really quickly, and you're just going to get tackled or something. But yeah, I just figured I'd make this video. I was scrolling on TikTok and immediately seen a post of this person saying that they were going to attack somebody, and a comment saying most actors are minors, and I was like, yeah, I was one. I had that situation happen. And I just figured I'd make this video kind of going, hey, story time. Let's talk about a time of me being underage, working at a scare house, and going through some of the funniest stuff ever, from throwing myself downstairs to mask ripped off to my sister being trapped in a corner to, somebody getting so scared and they were going to try to fight kids. But yeah, if y'all have a story of yourselves, scare house story, let me know. I honestly would love to laugh. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all. By the way, look at my hammer. Okay, bye, y'all. Hey, so editing me real quick. I should preference that this was years ago, 6 years to be exact. I've said that multiple times, and it is actually under new management now. So a lot of what I've said has probably been changed since then. There's probably a lot more security stuff in place. So if you are specifically looking at my stuff and immediately going, oh, all this is still happening today, especially if it's something that's concerning to you, a lot of this has probably been changed. So just figured I'd put this here at the end just in case there's any more confusion. If you watched this far, please hit subscribe, hit a like button, and I'll see y'all next one. Bye, y'all.